इससे समझाओ।
विन ग्रिप टेक्नोलॉजी कुछ इस तरह सीमेंट को ग्रिप करता है बिल्कुल टाइट।
SRMB TMT चैंपियंस की पसंद।
Good evening, everyone. This is Norman Kochnek here on a great platform, as you all know, called Xtra. Look at my hat. You can see it advertised there nicely. We are joined today by two men who both need to go to the barbershop because they haven't shaven, but that's all right. No, they're two wonderful men, in fact. The man in the middle is Siddharth. Now, Siddharth has been with us on a number of programs already. You would have seen him. He's been a fantastic addition to the Extra Time platform, giving great expert commentary. But today, we've been joined by Afzal Jiwani, who is also an amazingly important man, especially in the nature of ESPN Quick Info, from the Hindi perspective, being a sub-editor. Welcome to you both today.
Pleasure, as always.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Well, we may be later joined by, I believe, some people from the Bharat Army. As we know, they're a force to be reckoned with in terms of fans around the world, with a London base, but in every possible part of the world, we see Indian fans rallying together for India. But at the moment, we are concentrating on the IPL. Of course, this is the 22nd match. Oh my gosh, 22nd matches in a row. I tell you what, it's quite an ordeal. Out of some 60, what a magnificent competition it certainly is. Being the 22nd match, though, I think we're going to remember this match. I think when we look back, the 22nd match will be a pivotal match to decide what could well be a part of the playoff situation. We have, of course, the Delhi Capitals versus the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Now, both these sides are at the top of the table at the moment. They're joined by CSK. In fact, those three are clear, I think, 2 points ahead or 4 points ahead of the next team, which is Mumbai Indians, which gives them a distinct break at this early stage. Of course, it's the first game at Ahmedabad as well for this series. Motera Stadium, or there's many other names the stadium goes by. What's another name that you love to talk about?
It's the second game in Motera. Yesterday was the first.
My apologies. But let's not talk about that. That game is not as good, as important as this game. I'll be really honest with you. That first game was disappointing, I must say, and we talked about that after the match. Very underwhelming. Both sides yesterday were particularly underwhelming. Yes, you're right. This is the second match at Ahmedabad, but I think the first real match. I hate to say that. This will be significant. This will tell us a lot about the form going into the future. Of course, we've got Rishabh Pant and his crew under the Ponting leadership, and we've got, of course, Virat Kohli with AB de Villiers under the Kadich Mike Hesson leadership. In fact, two significant coaches on either side that really have helped shape these teams, giving them a certain amount of edge that I think will help them through. Both teams have not won an IPL either, which I think is a significant factor, and that'll be telling. Truly, this is the year when we will find a team that has not won the competition. I believe that very strongly. Even though CSK are there and Mumbai Indians are there, I have a feeling we're looking at the two teams that will make it. RCB had a fairly unfortunate match last time around, didn't they? They seemed to underperform, but let's be honest, you can't go through perfectly, and I'm kind of glad that match happened now rather than at the end. Really, any loss during the season doesn't count when it comes to the final match, and we know that. Momentum and hunger to win that final match will be paramount, and I still believe these two teams are the ones to watch out for. We can't discount CSK, we can't discount Mumbai Indians, but I believe that's the way. So I've got to, first of all, I have a number of the fans that are on our page. I have to make a point of saying their names. Gimanthi, hello Gimanthi. Now, she is actually from Sri Lanka, and I need to make sure I say hello to her. She is a lovely lady, pretty good cricketer too in her day, and she's there in Sri Lanka called Gimanthi. And Watageda, Gimanthi is a good person, and I'm glad to say hello to you. Welcome, Gimanthi, to a new subscriber. Afzal, I have to make sure you're subscribing too. You can't just watch and be a part of it. You must subscribe. Okay, so the platform of Extra Time is very important. I will bring my crystal ball out later, or as I think it was, we had people calling it a jar. No, it's actually a crystal ball, believe me. Okay, all right. Now, I guess like all matches, we're going to be talking about team selections, about the toss, and any so-called tantrums of those that may or may not be in the side. We noticed from yesterday's match, Dawood Milan needs to be given a chance. If he's the top T20 player in the world, supposedly, and not able to get onto the field, there's something bewilderingly bad about that. And we've talked about this purchasing a player and then leaving them on the bench so other teams don't get them. I find that remarkable. I can't even believe that's the case. But I think in this particular game, Dan Christian, even though he dropped a catch last match, will figure. He is, I still maintain the importance of him to this team, the RCB makeup. His winning formula that he knows too well, and so many games and so many leagues that he has played will play paramount. I'm happy him dropping a catch yesterday, whatever it was. He won't drop them when it counts. I'll tell you that much now. So RCB with the likes of Villiers, Coley, obviously Maxwell, and Christian, and a very strong bowling attack. I love the way that the matchups were shown. We had a series of matchups, and clearly both sides are full of bowlers and batters that can make a mark. Very balanced in both of their teams. Siddharth, we might start with you. Tell me about your thoughts on today's match, your take.
Very intense match on the cards at Narendra Modi Stadium. I mean, Rishabh Pant and Virat Kohli, two big names. One, he's already in the ascendancy as far as a great person is concerned, a great cricketer is concerned. Another is already a bona fide great. So it's a great captaincy test. But both teams head into this match with some issues. Delhi Capitals have a major issue. Now that Ravichandran Ashwin is not there, how will the spin department now have that slight X factor? RCB are without Adam Zampa, Kane Richardson, but since they didn't play that much of a role, Richardson played 1 or 2 games, but I don't think that will make much of an impact. RCB's core, as I said again, the batting is yet again going to find it difficult to counter Delhi Capitals' bowling. Why? I had mentioned in the Chennai Super Kings versus RCB game, they have the bowlers to keep Maxwell and De Villiers quiet. They had leg spin and they had left arm spin. Imran Tahir and Ravindra Jadeja. Here, you've got Amit Mishra and Axar Patel. Amit Mishra has gotten success against Maxwell. Axar can very well get success against AB de Villiers. Now, how these two batsmen cope up and counter the threat at the Narendra Modi Stadium, which you don't know. It might be a 200 wicket that we may play today. There are 6 strips. So we don't know on which wicket they'll play. Play on that old strip that they play, Punjab versus Kolkata game where they played the match on. We are going to have a low scoring, I may say a low scoring slow burner of a game. The result might not be so straightforward considering both teams' bowling capabilities. The batting has got superstars galore, but Royal Challengers Bangalore have a slight edge when it comes to the batting. But on the bowling front, I feel Delhi Capitals have the edge. So which department succeeds, that'll be very important. Very, very interesting match today.
Now, you did mention the fact that Ashwin's not playing. Okay, you may see that as a loss. But they've got Mishra and Axar Patel. They're not exactly lacking, are they? It's not truly a loss in this format, I believe. Had it been, say, a test match at that magnitude, then I would say distinctly there's a disadvantage because I see Ashwin with Jadeja being the primary two. But we mustn't forget, of course, Shikhar Dhawan. People always want to talk about punts, but we're forgetting that Shikhar Dhawan is, in fact, still the leader in terms of runs, is he not? He has the, what colour cap? I keep forgetting what colour. Orange?
The orange
purple,
cap. The orange cap.
Why don't they just call it the batter's cap? Wouldn't that be more appropriate? What's orange got to do with it? Orange is one of the teams, isn't it? Call it the batter's cap. Put a big bat up there or something. Then we know who's what.
The rolling eyes emoticon.
So we mustn't forget Darwin, but of course Darwin's there with the likes of Punt. But what about the other side? We talk about Coley, AB de Villiers, and also, of course, Maxwell. But we're forgetting one other man, a young man, Padikkal. Significant. We mustn't forget those. And on the bowling side, we're talking about spinners quite a bit here. But Avish Khan, obviously Rabada, if in form, against the likes of Harsh Patel, who's in form, and obviously Siraj. There's some key players. I mean, Avish Khan and obviously Patel have both done very, very well for their sides. Somewhat unknown to the outside world. I don't think people outside of India have as much of an understanding of those two players unless they watch IPL, but those two are going to figure very important today. Okay. Afzal, I've talked enough. Over to you. What's your thoughts?
So, as I agree with what Sid said, that it is a very pivotal game and it will decide the course of action, how the season for both these teams that play today will shape up once we reach into the business end of the tournament. Because both these sides have capable players, these are potential champion sides, and if they carry on their momentum, because Delhi is coming off after a nerve-wracking win in the super over, they just got off the line because of that one short run. Otherwise, the result would have completely been different. So they have the winning momentum, and on the other hand, RCB are coming in after losing a game very badly. Like they lost against one single person. Ravindra Jadeja just blasted the RCB entire team on his own. So it'll be very difficult to come back after that loss. Also, if you remember last season, RCB lost 5 games on the trot and then they crashed out of the tournament. And losing is one habit that you don't want to inculcate very early on into the tournament. So RCB would want to shrug off this loss and come back, and they have just one day. They are coming on the park tonight again, and they would want to just push off the habit and start winning again and move on to the top of the points table right now.
Breaking news. You ready for it? Daniel Sams has been given a cap. Hence, Daniel Sams will be playing today. Now, I am personally very happy. I could throw a stone to where Daniel Sams lives here in Sydney. He's not very far. He plays for the Randwick Peterson Club. He to me should be given a central contract by Australian Cricket Australia. He hasn't been at this point. To me, he's a player of the future, and that on its own could be very significant to me. Now, that's worth watching for. Daniel Sams is a great player. He's a very good fielder as well, has an all-round game, a touch of class about him, to be honest with you. So that's a significant move. But look, I must say, RCB having lost the previous match, you would consider that to be a negative on today's match, and the Delhi Capitals may have a mindset that's better. I think it's the reverse. I think RCB will be wounded, and there's nothing worse than a wounded side. They come back extra strong the next match. But Delhi Capitals seems to be able to win matches now when they're not supposed to, which is a great sign. Significant mindset change yet again, as opposed to what you would call choking of last year. Not really, but a team that came last under Ponting, then started with third, second, is heading for first. I think there's a very big cushion. You know, I'm a Delhi Capitals supporter this year. I'm really KKR because of Bart Debashis, but unfortunately, I'm seeing DC as the winner this day. But I'm finding it hard to pick today. My thoughts are waving between one or the other. I'll have some more coffee, and then I'll be able to tell you what's going on. And you'll notice, Afzal, you have to learn something about Australia. This is the football team you will support in the future.
Rabbitohs.
You must, Afzal, you must put your hand up like this. Put your hand up. And hand up. I solemnly swear.
I solemnly swear.
That I will always support.
I will always support.
The South Sydney Rabbitohs.
The South City Rabbitohs.
Good. Okay.
Not.
Now you're both officially a part of that club. All right? And you can't change. That's it. You have sworn. Okay. All right. I should get every sports editor to do that for me.
The oath.
The oath. Okay.
Yeah.
That might be something I might have to do. Everybody that's new must do it. Before they can come on the show, they must do that. Is that fair? I think so.
Fair enough. Yep.
All right. Now, back to the game. Daniel Sams' inclusion. What impact does that have in your mindset? Who do you think is going to be left out?
Look, I think it's a great move. Daniel Sams was traded from Delhi Capitals to RCB. Wow. So he might be knowing like one or two areas he can chip in, like where we can hurt Delhi Capitals really badly. Because remember, RCB have lost 4 consecutive games against Delhi Capitals. So either he replaces Jameson, because I think on this wicket, Sams might had a bit more variety. He knows how to bowl at pace. Also the cutter and a left armer. Let's not forget that. He adds a different variety to it. Dan Christian, I don't think you would want to leave him out on this particular wicket at the Narendra Modi Stadium. He's got the
Great.
experience. He has got variety and he's got control. But I don't know whether RCB are very confident with going for Jameson. So either Sams replaces Jameson or Sams replaces Christian. Because even with the bat, Sams is a great option with the bat in the death overs. So he might want to take Christian's place also. We don't know. But experience and young. So you'll have AB, Maxwell, Sams, Christian could be lethal. I think that should be the thing. Sams replaces Jameson. That would be my ideal change if I'm the captain.
The only point of question here is Mike Heston is an absolute Jameson fan. And if he has any influence on the side selection, that may not happen. That may be the only twist. But we'll work on that one.
Yeah,
What's your take?
Yeah, so it can be the case that because we saw the last game and seamers were getting that nip of the surface at Motera, and if the wicket plays in that same manner, then Jamison's extra bounce will assist RCB because he has the knack of picking wickets early into the power play. Even if he has not been effective at the death, he can be crucial with the new ball. We saw Mavi bowling 4 on the trot in the first 8 overs. So Jameson can be your option with that extra bounce and Motera's big boundaries.
So is there any possibility that all three could play? Or is it going to be one or the other regarding Christian and Jameson? Is there any possibility that all three could play? I
think the possibility can only occur if either of AB or Maxwell is injured.
Right.
Maybe. So if RCB use Jameson at the death, they're making a mistake. Jameson in the IPL should be much more of a power play bowler. Power play and middle overs bowler. He can't be a death overs bowler. For that, either you have Harshal Patel or Mohammad Siraj. Siraj, until the 19th over, he bowled brilliantly. Those Yorkers, those wide Yorkers that he nailed against Chennai Super Kings, they were excellent. Harshal had one off game, but I think it will be too premature to write him off. He has not taken 15 wickets just like that. He's been clever. He just had one bad over. I expect him to bounce back very strongly here because for people like Afzal who know Harshal Patel's journey, he was molded in Motera at Narendra Modi Stadium. Wow. That is a different matter altogether that he played for Haryana for most of his career. But in Motera, it was Harshal Patel's background. He will do well there. As far as three players playing, maybe Jameson, Sams, Christian, either of AB or Maxwell might have an injury or they may want to rest him. Only then these three are possible. Otherwise, either Jameson goes or Christian goes. Maybe that's it. Maybe Christian because Sams has got better option with the ball and the bat. Maybe.
I mean, there's been comments made that Dan Christian's form was not good. When people say that about Dan Christian, they don't understand Dan Christian because even if he's below form, his presence is worth its weight in gold. I would have Dan Christian, honestly, if he didn't bat or bowl, I'd have him on the side. There's something about the man that's got a Midas touch, and Coley knows that. Oh, hello, Yahan, how are you?
I'm great. I just wanted to ask you, Norman, what are your crystal ball saying? Is it still saying Delhi Capitals?
Sorry?
You had your crystal ball, so they were saying that Delhi Capitals is going to win. So are they still in the favor of DC?
No. We're talking about team makeups. Don't you start with your DC abbreviation there. No, hang on. It's not Delhi Capitals. Is that Dan Christian you've got in brackets? Oh, I understand now. So it's you've got DC because of Dan Christian. I understand that. Don't worry. I'm your Delhi Capitals. You know, I'm not changing, but it's intriguing, the selection. We'll get to Delhi Capitals in a minute. All right. Have you been listening in the background or something? Where have you been? What have you been doing? Where have you been?
Actually, that show of fans, that it got a little extended. There was some network issues, so fortunately, I had to got late.
Okay. All right. So just to let everyone know, he's actually a Bharat Army member. He is a Delhi Capitals fan, despite the fact that he's a Dan Christian lover, as we can see. Actually, did you buy that? Where's your full picture? You said last time you would have a full picture behind you. Where is it? Where is it?
I think I'm still in the quarantine. I got affected with COVID-19, so I'm not able to get out of my room.
Yeah, here we go. The COVID. That's not. Okay. All right. Now, all right. Put yourself on mute while we're not talking to you, because you have a bit of background noise. All right. This makes this game intriguing, doesn't it? The whole relationship between with Rabada out of form, Norgay and Wokes are also in the play as well, aren't they, for Delhi Capitals? I mean, to say Rabada's not in form is a bit of a stretch, I think, because the man can turn it like that on a dime, and he's such an impact bowler. You can't leave him out of the team because he can turn a match very quickly. I think there's going to be interesting to see that. But just the way that RCB are carrying on with bringing Daniel Sams back into the team, there's a lot of thought gone into this match, I believe. There's some serious thought about this match, as they know the significance of Delhi Capitals and on Motera Stadium. Those two aspects. We're looking at a playoff style game, I think, here. Afsar, what's your take? What other things do you want to talk about? Let's talk about Delhi Capitals now. What's your suggestion about the team?
So Delhi Capitals look a very well settled side when you compare it to some, say, RCB or say CSK, because they have people in all the positions. They were in a bit of trouble when Shreyas Iyer had to pull out of the tournament because of his injury, but they have settled that number 3 slot. Pant is coming in at number 3 and utilizing those additional overs and playing a sensible innings once in a while. So it looks that Delhi can go all the way this season, but the only thing that remains is that who will be their fourth overseas player. Will you play Shimron Hetmeyer for all the games, or will you go in with 3 pacers, or you will have 2 pacers in Rabada and Nokia, or say a Chris Wokes in your lineup? So just the fourth overseas player conundrum is what will hamper Delhi's chances going into the tournament.
The fact is that this pitch probably suits Chris Wokes better, I would have thought, but we'll wait and see. Yeah, please, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to answer Afzal's question that our fourth overseas option is still an issue. I think it's more on what surface do we play. I think on this surface, I think we are going to drop someone like Steve Smith, not because of his low strike rate, just because of the team right balance, and we will get in an Andrik Nokia, because what Mark Wood did against India, I think it's same sort of pitch. So I think pace is going to be key for winning the matches, and if you want to destroy a batting lineup which RCB has, then I think your fast bowlers, Andrik Nokia and Kagiso Rabada, they would be heavily dependent. And also the likes of Parvesh Khan, it will just help. So this would be the only chain that, I'll not drop someone like Shimron Hetmeyer, because if you look at DC's 11, there is only one left-hander when it comes to the middle order. So when Akshar Patel comes in, it's a bag of left-handers and right-handers. So I'll have Shimron Hetmeyer, who can start from the very first ball, and Ajinkya Rahane and Steve Smith are same like a player. They have the game style is pretty much similar. They take in 10 to 15 deliveries and then they go on, and when they go on, they go all shots blazing. So and bringing in Andrik Nokia and Rabada, who were the key wicket takers, who were the go-to man for Shreyas Iyer, I think it's going to be the same for Rishabh as well.
No, but
I actually think Delhi Capitals won't change their side. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be very much because.
But one change is for sure. Ashwin has just left out, so I think
that's an obvious change. Yeah.
Even they can bring in Ishant Sharma in place of Win. I think that will also suit the worries.
just one thing, Yasser, if you drop Steve Smith and bring in an overseas pacer, that will bring about a hole in your batting lineup, because you don't want Rishabh Pant to be exposed against the new ball on this track, which offers a bit of movement to the pacers. Because Pant has been coming in at number 3, which isn't his normal position. So I would not want someone like a Pant to face the new ball inside the power play with someone like a Siraj or a Jamieson operating with the new ball. So it's better that you have Steve Smith let him play in that usual number 3 role. He has played well on the slow tracks of Chennai, and maybe Ahmedabad's track will assist him in his stroke making.
I agree. I think that was a sign of them putting him in that position the previous match, and I think they'll persist with him in that position. And I think this game, Delhi are at their best if they're stable. I do not think they should play around with their team, even though Rabada perhaps is not in perfect form. The reality is they need to keep a stabilised. Ashwin, okay, we know that he's not playing, but they've got two. Mishra, why, my gosh, he is X factor. Not unlike Bishnoi. Bishnoi and Mishra, there's similarities. And obviously Rashid Khan. Three of the best spinners in the game. Would you agree? Certainly. I think they're significant players. And Aksa Patel is continually undervalued by people outside of this team. Undervalued. I think, what he did in the test wasn't much. It was a lot. And he's doing it again. Significant. Yes.
Bowling a super over against David Warner and Kane Williamson, I think kudos. The way he handled pressure, giving only 7 runs in the super over and against top players, I think it was a condemnable effort by Akshar Patel. And I truly agree. You said that Amit Mishra, Rashid Khan, and Ravi Bishnoi, they all are valuable players. But I think all three leg spinners have their different side. Rashid Khan loves to bowl it quicker and gives a low trajectory and a low flight. Whereas Amit Mishra, he loves to give a lot more of flight, and he's a slow bowler. And Ravi Bishnoi, he is a sure. I think the batters still struggle to guess that what this bowler is going to bowl. So I think these all three spinners are pretty different, but they all are vital for the team. They are the X factor for their respective team.
I'll tell you. Okay, there is conversation about Wokes replacing Rabada. There is conversation around that. If that is the case, I can understand that. Okay, because Wokes is a big time bowler. I think a lot of Chris Wokes. I think he's again undervalued in his roles, and he can bat as well. We mustn't forget he can bat. So look, I'm getting more excited about this match the more I think about it. There's a lot of twists and turns going on here, a lot of significance, and the very fact that Daniel Sams is in for RCB, they've got a plan. They've got a distinct plan they're doing there that I'm very curious about. I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be magnificent. We've only got maybe a minute or two away from a toss, and that's always exciting. Siddharth's usually the first person to see the toss. I'm not sure why, but he is. We'll give that a minute. I had an amazing day today. I watched some old footage of IPL matches. I just thought I'd go back in history a bit. Boy, there have been some great IPL matches. There really have. There's been some nail-biters. Such amazing matches. If we get half as good as those, we're going to be in for a massive ride.
Yep, absolutely. What is your favorite IPL match, by the way?
Ever?
Honestly, yeah.
My honest opinion, the very first match, Brendan McCullum's innings, that blew me away. It couldn't have got a better start. That was probably one of the best innings we've seen in any form. Would you agree? And being the first match, it
changed cricket forever.
It was like a World Series cricket moment when Packer turned the lights on at I think it was the SCG, and Lenny Pascoe bowled the first delivery. Now, Len Pascoe, after all, is a good friend of mine. He's on my short show quite regularly. Len had the luxury of bowling the first ball, and it was a no ball. So, see, that's why I like that particular match, because we were all you were excited, I'm sure too. We were excited from Australia. It was a big deal. We knew we're in for a big one, and that proved it. And they couldn't have scripted it better, really. It was magnificent. And Kohli played in that match as well, didn't he? He was in that match. And Dhoni, was he in that match? I'm trying to think.
Dhoni for Chennai Super Kings.
He was. No, but Kohli was definitely in that match.
Ponting was there. Ponting was there for KKR.
That's right. Dravid was there too.
Dravid, Callis, Misbah.
What players have brought together.
Chandapal for RCB. Shivnarayan Chandapal.
Yeah, Chanderpaul's a player. Very often Chanderpaul is again underrated. A man of he was a talented batsman. I could never work out his batting stance though. Oh, that was the weirdest batting stance. But it worked. It worked. Okay.
It worked, yes.
Delhi Capitals, breaking news, Delhi Capitals have won the toss and chosen to bowl. No, like that, correct. But I hate now. I'm sorry, you're with ESPN Cricket Info, correct? Correct.
Yes.
Tell your people to stop saying Delhi Capitals have chosen to field. Nobody chooses to field. You choose to bat or bowl. You happen to field as a byproduct of bowling. I don't go to a cricket match and go, oh, I can't wait to field. No, I was an Inzam al-Haq. I was lazy. Okay, so I chose to go. I was a keeper. I didn't want to field. Don't they write things like chose to chase, chose to field? No, you bat and bowl. That's it. Leave all these other words out. Okay.
Ishant Sharma in for Ashwin.
I just
Who's
mentioned
for-
before that they might, bring in an Ishant Sharma for Ashwin. So I think it's sign of a well balanced team now.
I would have preferred Umesh Yadav, Umesh has got
Yes.
tremendous. He gets zip of the wicket. He gets bounce, of course. But the problem with Umesh is he's like the Mitchell Johnson of India. He bowls to the left, he can bowl to the right. But if he's in rhythm, he can be a great asset. So I would have expected Umesh in place of Ishan. That was one thing which.
Okay. So, how significant is the Ishant Sharma inclusion? How significant?
Frankly, Ishant has had very limited, you can say, impact in T20 international or T20 cricket, if I may add. In 2012, he took a 5-wicket haul, but since then, his returns have been pretty pedestrian. I think injuries have not helped in 2017, after he played for Rising Pune Super Giant, he was brilliant in one game, but then he tapered off after that. And since then, 2019 missed the entire tournament, almost the entire tournament due to rib injury. 2020, sorry, not 29, 2020. In 2019, he was rarely picked. Here, because there is a Ashwin pullout, that's why he was picked. He's got very limited impact, but let's see how he bowls in this match. I would love to see him break that perception that Ishant is not a good T20 bowler. Test bowler, he's brilliant, but his limited overs form has tapered off since that James Faulkner incident in 2013, Mohali.
Yeah, I think it's a slightly peculiar match to be bringing him into play, to be very honest with you. Anyway.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts?
No Dan Christian.
Yeah.
No Dan
Daniel
Christian.
Daniel Camp is for today. I think DS.
So Navdeep Sani misses out. Patidar comes back in the 3 and give us a bit of batting up front, and Sam's in for Christian. Okay. That's not necessarily, a thing we didn't expect, true. But punts, what has he said? Let's look at 3. Ishant Sharma for Ashwin. So there wasn't really a concern about that. But it's interesting because they do understand that they've got enough spin options already. But yeah, Patidar, what do you think of that replacement? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think RCB need a steady number 3. That is the main issue for them. RCB need a steady number 3. That's why they are shuffling around with that. I don't think that is a good move. Because Villiers and Maxwell will be a 4 and 5. Kohli is opening with Padikkal. So that number 3 position is now gone. Who will be at number 3? That's one weak point of RCB.
Yeah, Shahbaz Ahmed did the role pretty well. I was really surprised that why they let him go, because Shahbaz Ahmed was, someone like Jadeja. He can bat pretty well, and I was reading a stat that he scored 100 in just 48 balls in the practice match in the RCB net. So that shows sign, how good he as a batter. We know he is a great bowler. He just changed the game in that 1 over against SRH. So he brings in, quality of three. He's a perfect fielder. He can change your game. He's your X factor, and he can also, suit your worry for number 3 position. So it was, pretty confusing that why they are not playing him in the 11.
Okay, so I'll go through the sides for you. Delhi Capitals have got obviously Shikhar Dhawan and Prithvi Shaw, with Steve Smith at number 3. So he's still there. Punts, Stoinis, Hetmeyer, In fact, I'm now, so Hedmeyer, Aksa Patel, Rabada, Avish Khan, Ishan Sharma, Amrit Mishra. That's a good side. Would you agree?
Yes.
With RCB, of course, we've got Kohli, Padikal, as we know, would open. Padikal, I'm not happy with that selection anyway. Maxwell, De Villiers, Sundar, Sams, Cole Jamieson, Harsh Patel, Siraj, and Chahal. Okay, so that is probably a good side as well in the context of the situation. I'm just not sure that they're number 3. That's my only. I'm just a bit uncertain.
Both sides, Norman, both sides have taken 4 pacers and 2 spinners. If you look at it, Sundar and Chahal in RCB, Mishra and Aksar in DC. Then you've got Rabada, Ishant, Avesh, and Stoinis. The 4 pacers for DC. For RCB, you've got Jameson, you've got Harshal Patel, you've got Sams, and then you've got Siraj. So 4 pacers and 2 spinners. So are they expecting the wicket to be really bouncy and skiddy? That's what I want to know. Maybe
Yes,
with the dew
exactly.
factor later on.
Exactly. I think even it's the dew factor or the wicket. I think it's a mixture of both, because if the wicket is too dewy, I think it would be harsh on spinners and especially leg spinners. And the reason why I think they have gone with a pace attack is that we know that what Mark Wood has done against India in the T20I. So it's a new ground. People really don't have stats, so they are closely eyeing on the match, which was the India versus England T20 series, and also yesterday's match. I think mystery spinners will work. Akshar Patel and Amit Mishra will add to the like. But I think going with the pace attack, it's a brilliant move.
Oh, look, they may have some understanding as to what wicket's been used. In all fairness, they may have had some indication of a pitch being prepared, and they would have then perhaps known that was a pitch of that type, which is only fair because this is meant to be a fairly level playing field. It's not meant to favour one or the other in any way, shape, or form. So I get that. Either way, both sides have put their best foot forward. Daniel Sams was a particularly interesting inclusion, and I'm really going to. I see this as a great game. The issue of the toss. Do you see the significance of the toss? Now we've noticed a fair bit of dew on this ground last match, did we not? How will that factor into this? Afsal.
Yeah, so I guess it will play a major role unless and until the umpires change the ball after the first 10 overs in the second innings. The bowlers will find it difficult to grip the ball, be it the spinners or the pacers, because the ball will become like a cake of soap and it will be difficult for anyone to pitch it in the right areas. We might see 1 or 2 beamers here and there in the second innings. I hope that there aren't any, because it will be very difficult to control that wet ball. And we have seen that the dew arrived yesterday in the 16th over of the first innings, which is an alarming sign, because you don't want dew to play a major role and the toss to decide the result of the game, because it has affected yesterday and it can possibly affect the result tonight as well. So we have seen that in Chennai, the groundsmen have used certain scientific techniques to stop the arrival of dew and delay it. So maybe in Ahmedabad, they can do the same.
But I think, Afzal, what has happened is normally, according to normal science, if there is very little humidity, Ahmedabad is dry heat, 20 to 15% humidity, there shouldn't be any dew. But you know what is causing all the dew? The lighting around Narendra Modi Stadium. It is like a combination of the normal Indian stadium and the Ring of Fire in Dubai. It's like that. So that is causing that excessive dew. I mean, you saw in the 16th over onwards against Punjab, Kolkata, it was getting incredibly difficult to even hold the ball. I think the lighting this time has thrown teams off fire, because we were expecting, even I expected, that there'll be no dew in Ahmedabad because it's a very dry place. It's a very dry stadium. But the lighting has thrown everybody off gear.
And the sheer size of the stadium too. It is a very long distance from the stadium surrounds to the middle of the field. And that is a very unusual dynamic too. I think there's a lot to play in that ground as well. If you look at the sheer size of it, just be at the back of a stand to the front of the stand is a long way, and it actually is conducive to holding in the dew. I believe that is another factor. It was discussed in the previous series. All right. Can you explain to me why Patidar wasn't, what they're saying that he was brought back in? What is the story with that positioning? Why was he out? Why is he now in? What's your take, Siddharth?
Again, see, Patidar, the guys who came into the RCB setup, Patidar and Shahbaz Ahmed, both of them had excellent domestic seasons, especially Shahbaz and Patidar. Patidar for his batting, as Yatharth mentioned, 48 ball, 100, and even in the Mushtaq Ali and in the Vijay Hazare, he was really batting well. But however, I think Royal Challengers Bangalore, what they have done is, they made Virat Kohli open. Actually, if you have to look at it, it has thrown the team's composition slightly haywire. Kohli was the ideal number 3. If you want to open for India, it's a different dynamic altogether. But with RCB, where you've always played at the number 3 position for so long, why would you want to suddenly open? That has thrown the team composition slightly awry, in my honest opinion. And the number 3 position now is no longer your pivotal position. You need a solid batsman, a combination of grit and solidity. You saw Rahul Tripathi come back to form for KKR. He's an aggressive batsman. He's also a solid batsman. Here, Patidar and this guy have not had much success. I mean, I'm not saying experience. They've not had much experience in the IPL. So throwing them is like, at number 3 is like throwing unexperienced swimmers or inexperienced swimmers into the deep sea, and they are hoping for success. Shahbaz Ahmed achieved it against Sunrisers Hyderabad, but consistency is the key. And you drop him and you get Patidar, you drop him and you get someone else again. I think that is not helping. That's the weak underbelly that we're talking about, the middle of the belly. That might hurt RCB, unfortunately.
Yeah, I tend to agree. There's a bit of confusion about what's going on with the selections. The more and more I look at the team while you were talking, the more and more I'm not exactly sure what the tactics are. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out. It's becoming obvious to me, though, that this match is of great importance to both sides. And they're throwing everything at it, which means all of their thoughts of like a Daniel Sams coming in is all about this momentum of this game. It's such a significant game. There's so much riding on this. And I believe that what we're seeing here is one of these two teams will win this competition. That's my gut feeling. All right. Afzal, as well, from your perspective, having worked with Quick Info, there's a lot of emphasis on stats. What stats would you say is relevant to this match? You've mentioned, I think you and both Siddharth mentioned before, that RCB have had the edge against Delhi Capitals. Is that right?
Yes, in the last 4 games.
How much will that be a part of this game today? How much of the mental edge will come from that?
Yeah, it will play in the back of the mind for Virat Kohli, especially because he is someone who does not like to be dominated by someone. He is the one guy who loves to be on top of others. So maybe that one stat will be in Kohli's mind. Also, there are 2 key matchups that I believe which will decide the course of the game. First of all, Kohli versus Rabada, because Rabada has had the edge over Kohli in the past few games where these both sides have played. I still remember the green jersey game in 2019 where Rabada got Kohli driving across the line and getting him caught behind. So that is one matchup that will decide the course of action. The other matchup is Shikhar Dhawan against Washington Sundar, because in the last year's final, MI used that strategy very cleverly against Shikhar Dhawan and got him out cheaply. So using Washington Sundar in the power play can help them dismiss Dhawan for cheap this time around as well.
That's great points, and I think that's relevant to this match. I think what you've said there will have an impact without any doubt. Yes, yeah.
Yes, I think it was a valid point that Azul said, that Washington Sundar and Shikhar Dhawan. But I think since that match, DC versus MI, when Mumbai Indians used Jayant Yadav, to get rid of Shikhar Dhawan. But in the previous match also, we saw Sunrise Hyderabad brought Jagdish Suchit in. So, they wanted to try the same strategy, to get Shikhar Dhawan cheaply. I think that he has improved whenever left-hander spinner comes in, he stands on the middle wicket, so that he doesn't expose his stumps too much. So I think that matchup won't really help, RCB this time. I think Shikhar Dhawan is definitely going to have a better of RCB this time around.
Okay. The other aspect of this, which is interesting, is, well, it's actually a milestone match for AB de Villiers. He's only some 22 runs short of his 5,000 runs, which is a very big milestone. We've had Coley previously with 6,000. Two powerhouse players, and having said that, we have those two. If they're going to put a stamp of authority on this match and on the tournament, these two are the ones that'll do it. And I feel very strongly this could be the day of reckoning for de Villiers. If he comes out with his true ability, he will take this game by the stranglehold and give Delhi Capitals one hell of a shake. Same can be said about punts, but I think AB de Villiers is significant. If Delhi Capitals can get AB de Villiers early, that could set the tone for this whole match. Absolutely. I think that's going to be a significant wicket. If they allow him to get off the market into the 20s and 30s, he could run away with it. Sorry. Siddharth.
Absolutely. What worked for Chennai Super Kings in that game? Maxwell and de Villiers were gone cheaply. It could be done. It can be done. They have the leg spinner and the left arm combination duo even in this game. Xtra and Mishra, it's about utilization. Where will they utilize them? That is the major issue. If they do it after the power play, great. Then you can keep Maxwell and AB on a leash. I mean, you can keep them in control. You can think about it. Mishra can get tongued around because he doesn't have the speed variation, but he's not taken 166 IPL wickets just like that.
No.
He knows the condition. He knows how to bowl about it. So that is why this match will depend upon how Xtra and Amit come up against AB and Maxwell. Kohli, if Rabada can get him out cheaply, then you've broken 50% of the resistance. The remaining 50 will depend upon Glenn Maxwell and AB de Villiers. But of course, today RCB bat even deeper because there's Washington Sundar and also Daniel Sams. So you cannot ignore. Yeah. So RCB bat deeper today. Unlike the one in Chennai where their batting ended when AB de Villiers got out.
The previous match we had, of course, Mozon Reeks bowl that initial over. Could we see a Daniel Sams bowl initial over? Because they could well be also considered. He can throw them off initial overs. It'll be interesting because we know the power play is a very important part of the match. But as I always say, the top three batters of both these sides are absolutely crucial. They have to be the ones that settle the platform, and one, if not two, go on with it to play through the whole innings. That's why I've got some concerns about the likes of Paditar. I don't know whether I'm not convinced of that. I know he's got good domestic form, but I'm not convinced with his positioning in that. So I think there's a weak link there. Afsal, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, but the thing is that Patidar has played well in the domestic circuit as well as in the practice games that happened pre-tournament. So I believe that RCB management back him and see him as a potential talent that they can groom and maybe utilize in the near future as well, once the mega auction happens next year. So maybe they want him to be that solid number 3. They have had enough of these floaters coming in at number 3 just to play a quick fire cameo. They want a proper batsman, and if someone like a Patidar can play that knock, he is capable. And if he does that, then it puts Maxwell and AB in a very good position to just come out and attack from ball 1, which they like. So I guess it's better that you have a solid number 3 rather than having a floater who does not usually bat at that position. So it's better that you have a solid number 3.
That's a very good point. I should take that into account. It's just the unknown factor to me of how he performed in this situation, which concerns me. That's all. Of course, batting orders can change as well. There may be changes. We just don't know. If the openers take off a flyer and score well over 100, they may promote de Villiers or perhaps Maxwell up the order, depending on the circumstances. That could also happen. So that's a possibility as well. Hetmeyer, what about his form? What do you think of his form for this game and his importance to Delhi?
I think Hetmeyer, I think he has been underutilized. He hasn't been utilized that well. He likes to bat up the order. If you look at the Caribbean Premier League or even in the T10 and even for West Indies, he loves to bat at number 3 or maximum at 4. But this time around, I think our middle order is very much flexible. Sometimes we send Steve Smith, sometimes we send Rishabh Pant to finish on the game. sometimes he send us Shimron Hetmyer. So I think these are good signs, because in T20 cricket, your middle order, how much your middle order should be flexible. You're that good a side. You look at Mumbai Indians, sometimes they shift Rohit Sharma at number 4. Sometimes they get Ishan Kishan to open with Quinton de Kock. So I think these are great signs. And Shimron Hetmyer, the way he finished the game against Mumbai Indians when the game was hanging around in the balance, I think he was very much smart. He went because he is the kind of player who can strike the ball from very first ball with the plays. So I think Shimron Hetmyer is an X factor for this team. I think this team has a lot more of X factor. You have Rishabh Pant, you have Shimron Hetmyer, you even have Amit Mishra and Kagiso Rabada. I think this side has all mixes in their bag. So Shimron Hetmyer is the key. If we are chasing a youth score, he can really anchor the innings with someone like Steven Smith, who just hangs around at one line. He likes to be the glue, and Shimron Hetmyer to be the aggressive roller.
Okay. Well, I look at both sides though. The fact that RCB are going to bat first, correct? So they're batting first. This could be significant. I would argue that De Villiers is a great person to have batting last. Batting first is also powerful. But what advantage is your gut feeling telling you about with RCB batting first?
Okay, this is a very tough call because both sides are so evenly matched. I would just say if RCB get off to a great start in the power play, and if they have a score of 150 or 160 by the 15th or the 17th over, you've got a great platform by which you can go to 180. 180, 190 will be a very, very difficult total to chase. So to nullify DC's advantage, they are bowling second anyway. So RCB, let them post a big total. Padikkal, Kohli, AB, Maxwell and Sams will have to bat on. One of the, as you say, one of the five have to bat really long. Maybe Padikkal, maybe Kohli, maybe AB or Maxwell. If they do, then the game is away from Delhi Capitals.
Okay. We've got 7 minutes before the game's starting. It's time to actually make our bold predictions or decisions on who's going to win. And no fence sitting. We need winners and losers here. Afsal, I'll let you start first. Who do you think will be the winner or victorious in this game?
For me, I think Bangalore will win the game.
Okay. Tell me more. By what margin? Sorry?
The margin will be very close. They'll win maybe by say 10 or 15 runs because their death bowling was exploited in the last game. So I'm hoping that they win and win it with a very smaller margin so that it does not affect the run rates for both the sides.
So you're saying Delhi Capitals?
No.
RCB. Sorry,
By
I didn't hear that. It's so close that even the way you described it, I wasn't sure who you were saying was victorious. RCB.
Yeah.
Siddharth.
I would go with RCB today. They want to really shatter that illusion that, okay, one loss, we'll get into a losing rhythm. This RCB team does not want a repeat of that. This RCB team wants to win. They are real title contenders. So to make that statement, they have to beat Delhi Capitals today. Only then it can happen. And they have lost 4 consecutive games against the Delhi Capitals. So that is double motivation for them to break that streak today. So looking at the attack and with Sam's inclusion and with the variety that they've got, I will stick my neck out and say RCB are going to win today.
Okay. I'm going to ask who you think. I almost know the answer, but who do you think is going to win?
No doubt, I think Delhi is going to win. Especially, the toss is crucial, and at this time, do what they did last time. I think it's no doubt it's going to be Delhi Capitals game.
Okay, so it's up to me, isn't it, to make a decision here? I mean, I initially went into this game with Delhi Capitals as the winner. I've seen the RCB make up. The very fact that we've got Sams in that line's made it more difficult for me. But I'm maintaining the one thing about Delhi Capitals this season is they seem to know how to win even when they should have lost the match. Hence the previous match. They were all over the place, but they end up winning. I have this feeling RCB will play very, very well, but Delhi Capitals may still get over the line. Now, I have a gut feeling the Delhi Capitals are still going to win, even though, okay, my heart's probably saying Delhi Capitals, my head's saying RCB, but my heart's winning at the moment. I think Delhi Capitals. So we've got 2 Delhi Capitals, 2 RCB. Nice and even, which this match deserves. It's going to be a super over. I've got that feeling. There's going to be some dramas here. This is going to be an action-packed match. I cannot wait. I'm actually most excited about this match than any other match so far. This is going to be a blockbuster. Stay tuned, guys. I think this will be a great game to watch. So thank you all for your time. We've got an even balance, 2 RCB, 2 Delhi Capitals. We've discussed it very thoroughly. It's been a great discussion. Thanks, Afsal, for joining us today. You've been fantastic, Yaha, and obviously Siddharth. This is Norman Koshnek here, signing off from Extra Time. Stay tuned for the post-match review. We'll have lots to talk about there, as we always do. So thank you for your time on Extra Time. This is Norman Koshnek.
Thank you. Thank you.